What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Kickin with Kachi, where we highlight individuals that are really taking their industry by storm. And today, we have the pleasure, the honor, distinction of sitting down with chef, model, artist, all around it girl, Amadi. Thank you so much for coming by and kicking it with me today. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And, obviously, when I do these interviews, I usually have someone that's doing one or two things, but that's not the case with you. So what was first for you? Was it like the cooking, the modeling, the art? What was the first step into really diving into your passions?
I started modeling at 18, and like the end of high school, early college, and then I became a vegan chef like my sophomore year of college. So, and then my art just recently started because I'm a tattoo apprentice.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how everything like went.
And I do want to talk about the cooking first because honestly, making comfort food like soul food, Nigerian food, making that vegan is a task in itself, right? So what was the
Yeah.
idea in trying in becoming a vegan chef? Was it something that was personally for you that blew up, or was something that you always were kind of aligned with?
So I became a vegan chef because I went vegan in college because of like generational health reasons. And I didn't want to go vegan and lose the authenticity of Nigerian food.
Hmm.
So, and honestly, all the vegan food I was tasting was like kind of bland. And I didn't want to go vegan without knowing that I could eat the like same foods. So when I went vegan, it was in college. I was like away from home. So I just learned, and I already knew how to cook. Like my Nigerian parents taught me how to cook. So I just learned how to make African dishes vegan by first removing meat and then removing meat products. And then after that, I kind of studied like the soul food thing because technically Nigerian food is soul food, but it's African soul food.
Right,
So
right.
I just learned like different soul foods from different parts of the diaspora. At the time, I was around a lot of Caribbeans and African Americans. So I just learned like the traditional African American foods that are soul food. So cornbread, ribs, collard greens, yams, like all of that. And then I learned how to make it vegan because those dishes were a bit easier to make than African food at the time.
Right.
And um, then like Thanksgiving, and this was around like Thanksgiving of like 2019, I think. And then I tried to like make the dishes vegan, and then I let my friends try it first before I like sold it on campus. And they were like, "You should sell this, like make a menu and sell it." So I did that once. And my first time I sold about like 20 plates. I had
Oh
people like,
wow.
yeah, pulling up to my dorm, like knocking on my door, like, I want to play. Um, and it was a mix of people. It was like African Americans, Nigerians, Caribbeans, like it was a whole bunch of different type of people. And that kind of blew up from there. And after that, people just told me to like get on Twitter. Like people were telling me like, yo, if you get on Twitter, your business will go up because I'm really good at like making videos, like
Okay,
making,
okay.
yeah, like people used to call it food porn, but I didn't like, I was like, okay. So then I got on Twitter, and surely enough, I did blow up really fucking quick. Like the first year on Twitter, I got about like, I think like 17K followers just from
Jeez.
posting food. Yeah, just from posting vegan food. But this was when veganism, Afro veganism was like just starting. So this was
Right,
like
okay.
me being one of the head influencers of Afro vegan living in New York City.
Right.
So people realized that and they started to support me through my website. Because after I graduated college, I didn't have to like look for a job because my
Right.
business was so popping. Like my income was like quadruple what I would make at a 9 to 5. So I was like, why should I like look for work when this is going crazy? And then on top of my modeling and stuff, I didn't, and I don't really like working for other people. So I was like, figured it out, I'm gonna just do this full time.
Right.
Um, so through my website, people would like request for me to start shipping my food, like people like my Twitter followers. So I learned how to ship food through like the US postage system without the food going bad.
Right.
And that's what really blew me up. Like once people figured out I could ship vegan ribs through like to different cities in the US, they were like, okay, yeah, I gotta get on this. So people started to support me more and more. And this was like 2018 to 2020. was like the peak of my business. And I was making a lot of money. I was making like $50,000 a year. It was crazy. And this was like with no training, no help, no nothing. And but then COVID hit. So
Right.
I couldn't fit my food no more. And sales went down a little bit. But then I started to monetize like my other gifts. Because I still didn't want to work for another person. And then my modeling started to go up more too. So that's how everything kind of balanced out a bit.
Nice, nice. I would say the impact of you went to Stony Brook, right? So being at Stony Brook, sorry, I'm a stalker when it comes to this thing. So if I ask questions that's about you, I'm just trying to do my job. But
It's
being in
okay.
Stony Brook, right? I'm not entirely too sure about the demographic of Stony Brook University, but doesn't sound. I don't know if there's a lot of people that look like us over there as well. So what was the experience in having that impact, having that sauce, and then leaving, but then still having an impact? Because I know for me, when I was in college and I needed my mom's Nigerian cooked food, some jollof rice,
Mm-hmm.
I sent through the mail. I came back, it was a box full of jollof rice. Like it was all open, it was destroyed, it was
Yeah.
gone. So even that barrier, right? And then,
Right.
studying Africana studies, it all sort of blend together as kind of a mission, as trying to get not only food that our people like and that we enjoy, but food that's good for us too.
Yeah, so everything kind of did come together for the means of healthy living and gut health and making sure that um, people that look like us have good food, but that's healthy. So that was really my whole basis of everything and making sure that the point of Afro veganism is understood, which is to help people of color, of the diaspora, to eat healthy food in places where we have food deserts. And food deserts are
Right.
places where we don't see healthy living, we don't have access to healthy food unless it's hella expensive, or we're surrounded by food that clogs our arteries, our gut, our lungs, and all of that stuff. So after doing research and learning about Dr. Sebi and like different holistic healers and their missions and naturopathic living, I was like, okay, I'm gonna combine this with my Africana studies background and kind of figure out like what my passion is regarding sustainable health in communities of color, but also making it really relatable and really fun through like food art. That's kind of how I view
Right.
what I do. And yeah, the demographic of Stony Brook is mainly white people. The POC community did like stick together because that's all we really had, whether it's through like sororities, fraternities, NAACP, the Black Student Union, the African Student Union. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we all group chats and stuff like that. So I was able to stay connected with my folks through that. And I would often like post my menus and stuff in group chats so that people all over could see it. So definitely that's also something that inspired me to cook because I was just tired of eating that food at Stony Brook. Like it was just really bad.
I'm
And
saying.
I couldn't, like, I was just like, no, like I think there was one day they actually had like I think every like white school does this. I forgot like the actual term. But they have like these cultural nights
Oh,
at the
here we go.
dining,
Here they go.
like the dining stations. And the way Stony Brook was set up is there were two main dining stations on campus because it was a big campus.
Right.
So it was like east side and west side. So you would either have to go to east side if you lived on like a certain part, if you lived in like the apartments. And then if not, you could go to the west side, but you would have to take a bus all the way over
Oh
there.
God.
And I think one time they had kosher night and they made jollof and it tasted like straight Mexican. I don't know if you've ever had Mexican rice,
Yeah,
but
right.
it
Yeah,
just,
yeah. Like
yeah,
yellow
I'm
rice.
like, bro,
Right.
this is not jollof rice. And it came to the point where like my business was doing so good. Like I had students like advocate to dining to like get me to
Wow.
work
To
with
have
them
you
to
work with them.
collab.
Wow.
Yeah. But I didn't want to. I was like, no, like I did not want to work with y'all because like that's always something like some people may say that have like has held me back or held my business back is I didn't collab with many people, but because I wanted to own the rights to my business. And I
Right.
know that the idea I have is world changing. You know what I mean? Like I have restaurants planned in my head, like menus, and I don't want to like lower my standards to collab, but it was also
Right.
like once I spoke to them, they were like, "Oh yeah, you can just give us your recipes." I was like, "Nah, we're not doing that.
Right,
Like,
exactly. Right.
nah,
I need
bro.
to be
Like,
in the kitchen. I need to watch y'all what y'all
right,
doing. Make sure that y'all doing the
right,
right thing. Right.
right, or at least be able to like delegate like people to do stuff and like teach
Right.
people
Right.
recipes. That's what I want to do. Or and then once I realized like, okay, y'all treating this like a Shark Tank, like, oh, sell us your idea, we give you
Right.
1%.
Right.
Like, nah, we're not doing that. So once I realized that that was like their ideology, immediately I got on there. I was like, okay, I need a trademark, I need a copyright, I need a lawyer. Like, I'm not doing this because
Right.
I knew if I was to pitch my idea to like another or like a bigger brand or something like that, the same thing would have happened. So that
Right.
taught me immediately from then, like, get on your stuff and don't fold. So from then, my business kind of slowed down, and then because I was working on my trademark and my copyright and all this other stuff, and then I started to just like learn how to modify my food to fine dining because I want to like eventually have restaurants all across the US, all across like different states and stuff. So I didn't go to culinary school. Like everybody knows, I went to Stony Brook. That's not a culinary school. So
Right.
I really just self-taught myself how to not cook because my parents taught me how to cook, but how to like formulate plates to look a certain way. You know what I mean? Like when you
Right.
go to a restaurant, a plate is set up to look like art. Like
Right.
it's not
Right.
food is not just thrown on a plate, slapped on a plate like you're at a barbecue. So I'm at the point where I'm kind of like working in silence. Like I'm in the lab, like learning how to do things and how to like make desserts and like foods look a certain presentable way for a restaurant
Right.
so
Right.
that when I do open my restaurant, like I'll be set. I'm also now working on pop-ups instead of like small plates because when I first opened my business, it was just like small plates or like desserts, 10 to like $20 plates. I started catering too, but now I'm doing more so like pop-ups in New York City. So like Vegan Dale is like a big vegan festival
Right.
that
Okay.
yeah, vegan vendors go out to and sell food. So I'm doing that next year. I was supposed to do it this year, but I wasn't ready and I didn't want to rush it. Even though people were like DMing me like, "Yo, are you gonna be vending?" I'm like, "Damn, no."
It's not the
And then
time. It's
people
not the
were,
time.
yeah, like, and that's also something I had to learn in my journey was like I'm very talented and people love that, but also I can't let people rush me. Like that's
Right.
something that brought my business to a huge downfall is letting everybody get in my ear about stuff. Like, oh, drop your cookbook here, drop this, do that. And I'm like, bro, it would get really overwhelming. And as a woman business owner, I had to learn how to put my emotions to the side and be a business owner. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
honor my masculine energy and in that sense while still having a creative field and world where I can heal people through my feminine energy, but honoring the fact that, okay, you can feel something, but that doesn't have to affect the bread. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like that does not have to affect how I talk to a client. Like, and I had to learn that stuff because I used to be reckless with my mouth, like talking to people because people it would be overwhelming and I didn't know my gift at the time. Like I didn't realize like, yo, like this is such a big deal, but I would have everybody else saying it. And I think as an artist, we go through that a lot. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Where people will see your talent like more than you can. Like you'll know you're talented, but then your own barriers will be holding you back. So I had to learn
Right.
like how to manage all of that. And I'm still learning through my different mediums, through modeling, doing art, tattooing, like how to just navigate everything and flow well. So
Nah, and honestly, I wanted to say as well, like being Nigerian, like I resonate with this question as well. But being the black sheep, right, in the family, like
mhm,
being Niger, you can't have tattoos, you can't have
facts,
locks, you know what I'm saying? Can't have
facts,
piercings, all the jewelry, all this stuff. So
facts.
how do you kind of navigate this experience or speak to this experience of being a black sheep? Because we know when Nigerians come here, it's tradition, like it's
Yeah,
very much
facts.
on making sure that we're not assimilating, but also remaining steadfast in our culture, right? How do you kind of navigate those two worlds, right? Like
Right.
bringing in this new, fresh energy, unique energy, being queer, having tattoos, being a model, right? Being a lot more
Mhm.
liberated in your feminine energy and just your personal self, while also Nigerian food. You have a Nigerian tattoo, right? Like
Mhm.
being affirming in your culture. How do you kind of navigate, dipping and dabbing between these two worlds?
Word. So that's a great question.
Thank
So
you.
for me, no problem. So for me, I'm first generation and I'm an only child on one
Wow.
side. Yeah.
Wow. And
I mean,
wow.
yeah. I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. It's not easy, oh. It's not easy. You know how many times I got threatened to get sent back home? Like, no, it's not easy. Like, even to this day, my father will call me, and be careful. I'm like, oh my God, like, please, please, like, but this is a long, I'm gonna try to like condense it. But honestly, my parents found out I was queer in college. I didn't even get to come out to my parents because
Wow.
I model and I did this viral photo shoot that it went viral all across the world. Like it went viral in France and Nigeria and here.
Right.
And this is when I first started modeling. This was my first photo shoot ever. So I
Wow.
had this Nigerian queer photographer. His name is Mikael Owuna. And he asked me to be in this queer photo shoot for African women. But I didn't know that he was a known photographer. Like
Oh
I
wow.
thought, yeah, like my homegirl invited me, and she's Nigerian. Her name is Yewande, and she's Yoruba. And she invited me, like, oh, you just pull up. We're just gonna take a few pictures. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I'm in school. I get a phone call from my dad, like, Amadi, why is your cousin telling me you're gay? I'm like,
Oh my God.
oh, dad, what's going on? Like, 1 second. I picked up the phone, and then he called back. He was like, what's going on? I was like, where did you hear this from? Like, he was like, I saw this photo shoot you did. Your cousin sent me pictures offline. I'm like, oh,
Oh my God.
whoa. And at that moment, I was like, okay, like at this point, I have to let them know what's going on. So I had to explain to my parents what queer means and
Right.
the difference between being gay, queer, bi, all those things. And at the time, my father was not with it. Like he was not with it. I'm like his Nigerian prince, like his princess. Like he was not with that. Like every Nigerian child knows that your parents have a certain path they want you to go down, and if you don't go
Right.
down that
Right.
path, it's over. Like they
You want
don't
to
want to
kill
hear it.
me. You want to end
Right,
everything. Oh, right. Of course.
right. So at that moment is when I think that's when my father realized, like, okay, she's a rebel. Like, and my
Right.
parents already knew this. My mom always called me a rebel, but in college is when it finally came out because I got to move away from home. They let me
Right.
like live on campus. So once I left home, I started getting tattoos. I started doing whatever I wanted. Like, and my dad knew this, so he was just like, "Okay, well, you have one decision. You can either leave the house, come get all your stuff and leave the house, or never do photo shoots again." And I was like, "Well, we both know I'm not gonna stop doing photo shoots, so
Time
I
for me
don't
to
know." So
move. Right.
right at that point, I was like, "Okay, well, I have no problem living on my own." I was 18, 19, so at that point, I was just like, when breaks would happen at school, I would just stay. Like I would like
Right.
rent out apartments because I was like, okay, like I don't want to have to thwart my creativity because my parents are stuck in one generation, right? This
Right.
was like years ago, but now my parents are a little more open to my lifestyle because I make good money. That's
Right.
the only reason.
Exactly. I mean, that's what
That's
that.
the only
Right.
reason.
Right.
That's the only reason. They're like, okay, well, you're successful. You know what I mean? Like you're known. We have no problems. Like it's no issue now. I'm like,
Now
okay,
there's no
now it's
issue.
not an issue.
Right.
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 So, but there were times where I had to sit, like there was one time I completely remember this where I had to sit my dad down and I was crying. I was like, Daddy, I don't want to be a lawyer. Like, Daddy, I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be an engineer. Please don't disown me. Like we were
Right.
at Olive Garden and I was crying my eyes out. I was like, please don't disown me. Please. I beg, please. And he just looked at me and he took off his glasses and he was like, it's fine. I was like, huh? It's fine?
Right. Right.
No, it's fine.
You look around for
No,
the
it's
cameras like,
fine.
what's going on?
Right. Right. He's like, it's fine. You can do whatever you want to do. Just make sure you're successful. I was like, okay. And then from there, because I had my father's blessing for my business, it went, I started to feel more comfortable to be more open with people because I was a little closed off because I knew, okay, I'm an influencer. If I post anything, my family can see it like that. You know what I mean? Because other people are sending it. So after we, overcame some hurdles, like it became a little easier. I'm not that close with my family. I can be very honest. People know this too. Like, because even to this day, like my father know I have mad tattoos, and every time he see me, you have to get that removed. I'm gonna pay for it to be removed. And I'll be looking at him like, you know how much it's gonna cost to get all this removed? He's like, I don't care.
Right.
I'm getting it removed. You can't come in this house with this. I'm like, all right. So because I know that, like, it kind of hurts me that I can't be that close with my family, but I love them from a distance, and we call each other once in a while, but at the same time, I gotta get this bread.
Right.
I gotta make a future for me. Like, that's what my parents came here for. You know what I mean? Like, they came here for me to be able to live my life because they wasn't able to live their life in Nigeria. So I'm the next generation breaking the gap. You know what I mean? Bridging the gap and breaking the like cultural stereotypes that we have to be a certain way. We have to do it like this, and it has to be traditional. And you can mix traditionalism with, like, it could be like traditionalism fusion. Like, you know what I mean? You can do whatever you want and still honor your cultural tradition. So that's something I carry with me everywhere I go, whether it's modeling or like, and people can see that in my art. It's very African based. Like, none of my art is, like, none of my art is modern or like, I don't know, like American modernism. Like, I don't do shit like that. Like, oh, I don't know if I can curse on here.
You can go out, please.
All of my art is like Egyptian or Nigerian based. Like, so I'm actually right now working on a portrait of Fele. So like, I think that it's something that sticks with me, being a Black sheep, and not in a bad way, but it's just something that keeps me going. You know what I mean? Like, and I often think about like my siblings, because I'm the only child on one side, but Nigerian men, they do what they want.
They do what they do.
They do what they want. The kings must plant seeds. Okay. So I have half siblings, but I don't consider them my half siblings. Those are my full siblings.
Right.
And I have a sister in Nigeria who's working on her law degree. I have another sister who's also working on her law degree. And then I have two siblings who are twins, and they're like 10. So every time I'm doing something, I'm thinking about them. Like, every time I'm WhatsApping my sister and I'm talking to her, like, I'm thinking creatively, like, okay, like, how can I honor my family through the next thing that I do? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm always taking my cultural perception and applying it to whatever I'm doing. And that's something that will always be with me, because I'll always be an African woman no matter where I go. And it oozes off my body. Like, you know what I mean? People naturally ask me, oh, where are you from? Like,
right.
Really, like, so it's something that just I'm blessed to carry, and I'm blessed to have ancestral lineage. And I also know that I am the difference between my past generations and the future ones. So I have to just uniquely be me, no matter like who it bothers, even if it's my parents, because sometimes your own parents could hold you back. So yeah.
And honestly, I was talking to my other friend the other day, like, as much as our parents, when they come here, they want us to be in tradition and have all these rituals. I feel like it's a bigger picture to understand that there's a very small selection of Nigerians who decide to up and leave Nigeria to then live in America, right? That in itself was a revolutionary idea for anybody, right? Of coming from Revolutionary War, coming from Civil War, coming from independence to then now being a whole new country, right? So our parents probably forget that, hey, you were the person that started this. You were the one that started the rebellious phase, and then you're just continuing forward. And obviously a question to make your dad very mad. What is your favorite tattoo that you
have? Honestly, people always ask me that question, like, and I literally was telling myself, when I do YouTube, I don't, like, when I do my first Q&A, I don't want to add that in there. I get that question so fucking much. But the only reason I love the question, but then I don't like it because of my response. I love the question because people are inquisitive.
Right.
But I don't like it because I don't have a favorite tattoo. Every time
Ah,
people ask me that, I'm like, bruh, all of these shits is fire. I'm supposed to pick
right.
one, like, bro. Um, I would say my most, I don't even know, that's hard. I was gonna say my most unique tattoo would be the only one of color, which is my Nigerian flag, which is right
Okay.
here. But my favorite, I love all of them equally. So I can't be like, I can't pick. I usually like when people ask me that, I flip it on them and I ask them what's their favorite, and then we'll start talking about it. But yeah.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say that definitely has encouraged me to feel like I can also get color tattoos because I be feeling like as a
Mhm.
dark skinned person, I can't get any color tattoos, but the green looks good on you. I don't know when you got it, but it still looks good.
Thank you.
So that has
Thank
inspired me
you.
to know that the color won't fade on my skin. And and having, right, like going into modeling, being dark skinned black
Mhm.
woman, right, that in itself has its barriers getting into the
Mhm.
modeling industry, right? But now you are head to toe in tattoos. How has that affected, or how has that, altered the choices or the options you
Mhm.
could have, or has it affected or altered the choices you could have, in finding gigs or even finding agencies before you find the agents that you have right now?
That's a great question. So it definitely has affected what agencies I work with, but not in a bad way. So most people, most models would be like, oh, I wouldn't be covered in tattoos because they feel like it'll limit them. With me
Right.
personally, I feel like this sets me apart. Like any agent I go to or any modeling agency that sees me, that wants to sign me, they immediately know that I'm a unique talent. So they're not going to book me for a basic, this is no shade to other models, but they're not going to book me for a basic brand.
Right.
Like, like I'm not going to name any brands because I don't want to, hey, they might want to work with your girl. So but but they're not going to book me for brands that are not aligned with my values. And I think that's
Right.
what people don't understand about modeling. Like a lot of people just have an outside view of it, but the inside world is very different. Like there's actually some tattooed supermodels. Like there's
Right.
this one guy who I think was a felon, and he went viral like all over the internet, and he has like face tattoos and his
Right.
whole body
Right.
tattooed.
Right.
So to me, being a tattooed model is very unique because only certain brands want to work with me. And some people may think that's like limited, but I like it like that because usually the brands that want to work with unique models pay extra. One,
Mm,
or like they'll want to work with you for a specific shoot where you're working with other unique models. So whether it's somebody with vitiligo or
right.
somebody who's disabled, you know what I mean? Like it'll be a room full of other dope, unique people. And that's something I really like. I would say at first I thought it was going to hold me back because I have other friends in the modeling agency who don't have tattoos. And they told me that that's why they don't get tattoos. And I think that's why I freelance modeled for so long. So I'm going to explain a couple terms because I know some people may not know terms. So freelance modeling is when you work for yourself. You don't have an agent or a manager. You choose all your bookings and you work with all type of different creatives that you want to work with. When you're a signed model, that means you are assigned to an agency and like a manager. So you have someone either managing you to help you get into professional modeling, or you're immediately signed to an agency because you already know how to professional model. So
Right.
right now with me, I'm signed with a couple agencies that are helping like manage me to get into professional modeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I freelanced for 7 years because like I could have immediately, most people don't know this, but if you have a specific look, like, and you want to get into modeling, you can get signed immediately with no experience. But most people don't know that, or they're fearful. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, I have to look like this to model, or
Right.
I have to
Right.
have this look. And it's not true. Most people who walk into the modeling world, like they have to get trained, not even most, all. You know what I
Right.
mean? No matter how good you may think you model, like because there's a certain like professional standard you have to be at to walk fashion week, to walk runway, to like work with brands. Like you have to know your angles, you have to have like a comp card, like you have
Mm-hmm.
to pay professionals to do things for you. Like so I would definitely say I don't feel like my tattoos have held me back. I just think they've put me in a lane to be very unique. And naturally, I'm a very unique person. So I think it just adds to my persona. Like, um, yeah. So I will say that. So when it comes to agencies, I think that's another thing people like really misconstrue. Like people are just like, I think some people only know of like high end agencies or like
Right.
agencies that are mainly talked about, like Walima or I don't know, like a whole bunch of other ones in New York City. But there's agencies that are on the same level as that work with unique talent. You know what I
Right.
mean? And when you're brown skin or dark skin, if you want to work with Walima, you got to be like 6 feet, um, 20 pounds. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? You gotta be like really thin, really dark. Like you gotta be like straight off the boat. Like type
Right.
shit. Like, and that's not realistic for somebody like me. You know what I mean? So it's something that I had to learn, like, okay, let me look for agencies that are aligned with my views and that are aligned with someone who looks like me, who's unique, who has tattoos, who has a bubbly personality. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because some of these modeling agencies just want people who look good. They don't give a fuck about your personality. Like
Point
they just
blank.
want you,
Right.
yeah, they just want you to walk on the runway and make them money. Like, but I didn't want to be signed to an agency like that. I have interacted with a couple agents like who have that attitude, like, okay, you have tattoos, we just wanna use you for that. Like I've had
Right.
agencies tell me that, like, okay, you have a great look, your skin is gorgeous with or without makeup. The tattoos are amazing. We want you to work with Calvin Klein for this. And we want you to do this and that. But that's it. Like, and then they'll tell me something like, but you need to dim your personality down. Like I've had
Right.
an agent tell me that, and I'm just like, well, you have a good day. It was nice meeting you. Don't contact me, and I don't want to sign here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's a dub. So after learning like the different type of agencies and like what I want to be signed to and like what I want to look for in agency, like I learned how to like tailor my needs to the industry because there's different mediums for everybody. Like there's some agencies that's just modeling. There's some agencies that's modeling and acting. Like, you know what I mean? And those are the agencies
Right.
I'm signed to for modeling and acting because I don't just want to model. Like I have a very bubbly personality and I think I will be dope in movies. So I was like, listen, I'm gonna do the modeling thing, but I'm gonna up my acting portfolio because I think that even my agent has told me that like you have a beautiful look, but we need you in movies. And I'm like, honestly, girl, you're right. Like, help me, nigga. Like, and honestly, people are so focused on modeling, but like actors make so much money.
Yeah.
They
And
make
like
so much
actors of
money.
any level, like they're for like
Yeah.
commercials, TV shows, even like extras and stuff like that.
Yeah. Even as like background characters, the
Right.
minimum, like if you're signed, the minimum you could be making is like 2K a booking. Like
Wow.
that's good money. Like, and that's just you standing there as a background for like an hour, 2 hours. You know, it depends on like the movie or the set or whatever. But you know what I mean. Everything is different. So I would say tattoos haven't held me back. I know some people probably think so, but I don't think so. I think it's put me right on the path that I'm supposed to be at, which is
That's a
like
great
not,
answer.
yeah, which is like not holding myself back from unique opportunities.
Right. And I'll say that's a great answer, like I said, because like people when they get into modeling, they think like you said, they have to be a certain look. Like I can't get
Hmm.
tattoos, I'm not gonna get signed. I can't wear my
Hmm.
hair a certain way, I won't get signed, or I
Hmm.
can't have a personality like yours there, I won't get signed, or
Hmm.
they don't recognize the power they also wield as models, right? It feels very
Hmm.
much like we're in a case where everyone is chasing the agency, everyone's chasing the casting calls, everyone's chasing the opportunity. When in reality, you also have, as you just explained, power in those situations, and you have values in those situations. And if it doesn't align with it, you have all right to leave because there
Yeah,
is going to be a place, there is going to be someone out there that will recognize your value as an artist, as a creative, as a model. And
I
then
do. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I do want to say this to people who may be seeing this who want to be models. Let me tell you something. You have all the power. Like, let me tell you something. I know you may think an agency, oh my God, they have the power to sign me. No.
right,
when you walk into an agency, because every agency is going to have you do one of three things. They're going to have you walk. If you say that you do runway as a model, they're going to have you walk in heels. If you're a man, they're going to have you walk, obviously without heels because you're a man. They're going to have you read a script because they want to see if you can act. Because if you're a model, you should also be able to act. That comes along with it. Even if it's a little bit of acting, you got to know what you're doing. And then they're going to have you pose like for like 10 seconds and take pictures of you. Those are things that you can work on at home. You can, like, I literally work on my model walk every day. I put on heels and I walk down the street. I don't care who looking at me. I don't care what's going on because I know that when I walk into an agency's room and those 3 to 4 agents are looking at me, I want to make sure that I'm the most memorable in the fucking room. Right. Because of my tattoos, because of my hair color, but also because of my skill. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that adds to the look. Like, okay, she knows what she's doing and she's unique. We have to sign her. You know what I mean? Like that should be the energy you have when whatever room you walk in. Like you should walk in with proudness. Like, okay, my ancestors brought me here. So I'm finna walk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so walk with that energy because that confidence is what will stand out. Even if you have no professional modeling training. I don't have any professional modeling training, but I'm signed to 3 agencies. You know what I mean? And they're helping me like develop. So for any future models out there, just know that you have all the power. Like, you know what I mean? Like you control the narrative in the room. So just keep that in mind and always keep your head up. Even if you feel like, damn, I don't know what I'm doing right now, walk like you do. Because that's going to show, like, you know what I mean? So just keep that energy like up.
And then looking forward, right, before we head out of here and our amazing conversation, what should we look forward to now that, one, I've always been a fan, you know me, but now the audience who are new fans of you, right, and new fans of the work that you're doing, what can they look forward to? Or what are you about to work on that we should be on the lookout for coming by the end of the year? I know you have this big vegan festival next year, so what should we all be looking forward to?
So I'm not the type of woman to let my left hand know what my right hand is doing.
Oh, I hate when people like that come on to interviews. You know, I love secrets. I love
But
secrets.
I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm still gonna give y'all little hints because I am a woman of manifestation. I'm a woman of manifestation, and I don't believe that you should tell everybody your business because it can affect. But I am, like I said, I am signed to a couple agencies. My goal is to be signed to professional modeling agencies before the end of the year. I also plan on walking in Fashion Week, in different fashion weeks, New York, Miami, and LA. Y'all got to get hip on those dates. I'm not going to tell y'all the dates, so y'all can do your research. I also, on a personal level, for my vegan soul food business, I plan on revamping it because I haven't been working on it. Well, to the public on the Instagram page, the last post I made was 2022. So I want to revamp it, and I'm going to be doing more public festivals in New York City, in LA, and in Texas. So I'm expanding to Texas. I also am kind of building like a model boot camp for dark skin and brown skin models, because I want to help beautiful women who want to model get into the modeling industry. So that's something I'm working on. I'm also working on what else? I have so many things going on.
Talk about it all. Talk about it, please.
I'm also working on a YouTube channel because I should have been started YouTube, like because I want to show people how to cook the vegan food. I also want to do like lifestyle creation. I want to make videos to show people how to start modeling, like how to get a comp card, you know what I mean? How to take your measurements, how to walk in heels, like, you know what I mean? How to pose properly, how to act, you know what I mean? Like, I want to show people the things that I'm learning for free because when you are signing to a professional modeling agency, you best to believe they're going to charge you at least $3,000 in fees before you can sign a contract. Like well, when you sign the contract, like, you have to have money up front because it's a professional thing. You know what I mean? So you're no longer just taking pictures for fun. Like, they're teaching you how to pose. They're giving you professional photographers who's worked with Dior, Gucci, you know what I mean? These different brands to like take photos of you and stuff like that. So I want to show people how to do that. What else? I'm also, refining my art style. So I'm working on that. I'll probably do some paint and sips in different parts of the country. But I'll be doing that like when my YouTube channel is like a little more up. And yeah, I don't know. I have a lot going on, but that's kind of like a synopsis.
Okay. That's all we need to know. I know you don't want to tell
Okay.
everybody all the secrets and everything. So thank you for even telling
No
us
problem.
anything. And thank you for coming in and kicking with me. I've been loving hearing you talk about your journey and your beautiful, beautiful story about you coming through these multiple industries. And I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure and I know for a fact that anyone watching right now is going to be taking many things from this story they can also apply to their own lives. So thank you once again
Mhm.
for sharing
No
that part
problem.
of yourself.
No problem. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the amazing questions.
Hey, it's what I do. It's what I do. But thank you guys for another amazing episode of Kicking It with Kachi. You can check out my girl Amadi at A the Plantal Alchemist. A the Plantal. That's PLANTAL on Instagram. Check her out because she is dope and amazing. Check out her full page at Nourish the Soul LLC on Instagram. You can check out her art page at the AOA555 on
Mm.
Instagram as well. And check out her modeling all her and maybe her acting. I won't know. It's not small. There's big things of one. But
Yes.
you will see all her amazing things coming soon. And if you haven't already, make sure you check her out on Instagram. She's dope. Thank you guys for another amazing episode. You can check out this episode at the DC Voice on Instagram and YouTube. I'm Costa the Analyst. Thank you guys, and we're out of here. Bye bye.
Bye.